So we wanted to get your perspective on marijuana and the effects that it has on some of the youth in the community, some of the experiences you've had with it, um, and just kind of what your take is on it. If you've got any stories you could kind of tell us or.
First and foremost, marijuana is still an illegal drug in Nebraska. I know there's been news nationwide of a lot of states or cities that are legalizing marijuana and stuff. Nebraska and the city of Omaha is not one of those states that does that. So it is still illegal to possess marijuana. A lot of people I talk to about this or are kind of surprised when they hear this, but marijuana is actually one of our more deadly drugs within Omaha. And what I mean by that is a lot of the shootings, some of the homicides, some of the violence in Omaha is stemmed from the marijuana trade, meaning people owe people money or people are robbed from marijuana. And then that leads to violence, these non-fatal shootings, fatal shootings and homicides and other things like that. Now, in and of itself, people might think marijuana is not that dangerous of a drug. I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to debate any of that. I'm just telling you what I see, which are the ripple effects of that. Meaning it is actually a very deadly drug when it gets down to it of what causes and is a driver of violence within our community of that. All the studies show that basically the human brain is not fully developed till around age 25. Maturity level, proper decision making, being able to basically forecast of choices and how that will affect you going forward is still underdeveloped and is still in the process of it. And, you ask any adult and they'll look back on stuff they did when they were younger and they'll shake their heads. Like, I don't know what I was thinking.
Yes.
And if you factor in a drug like even alcohol or marijuana that can have ramifications on that short-term memory or on those decision-making processes, it's just going to exacerbate and make those, potentially poor choices even more so if you're under the influence of something as well with that. And, then that could lead to some serious consequences. Now, maybe just get stopped in a car and you just get that ticket I talked about for marijuana. That's not that big of a deal. You might even get the diversion classes offered and everything else. Or maybe you get behind the wheel of a car, you cause an accident, you hurt one of your friends, or heaven forbid you hurt somebody else and maybe cause them to be paralyzed or something. And that's a decision you have to live with for the rest of your life. And that's a very, very big consequence and a big decision that you could have to weigh on your back for the rest of your life. Or something else happens where, you're going to buy these drugs and then maybe it's a robbery deal gone bad and somebody gets shot or one of your friends gets injured or something like that as well too. And we see that a lot of robberies. Like I said, marijuana is a violent drug, at least within my profession of the ramifications it causes with other crimes. Like I said, robbery, shootings, homicides, they all stem from that drug. So people will go and get robbed trying to purchase marijuana. People selling marijuana will get robbed and get hurt and get beat up and assaulted. There's all those things that stem from this one little drug. That's what we see. We see a lot of drug dealers that have home invasions, stuff like that, where people are looking for drugs and or money. They know they can make it quick cash. And a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, but it's not uncommon for it to be minors, people under the age of 18 or even under the age of 21 for that to happen.
And then things kind of, as they get on about their life, then it, like you said, it can snowball. One thing leads to another, to another, to another, and it's a hard cycle to break and hard cycle to get out of. So,
yeah. And again, if you're causing that damage to your brain at that age when it's still underdeveloped, it's a chance that it might not ever fully develop. So you may not ever reach your full capacity or capabilities and everything. And nobody would want that. You don't want to cause, damage to yourself intentionally when you're still at that young age. It was a very deadly drug within police circles because of some of the ripple effects of it, which is, if you start dealing large amounts of it, you're going to have violence with guns, you have shootings, non-fatal shootings, homicides over drug debts, things like that. You don't see a lot of the domestic violence and stuff like we see fueled by alcohol and stuff, or drugs similar to that with marijuana. But, the National Highway Traffic Safety Institute is saying that accidents are on the rise where drivers have been under the influence of marijuana, since some of these legalizations and everything. So nationwide, that's coming up. So yeah, there is a correlation between criminal activity and marijuana use.
Well, thanks for talking with us today and just taking some time out to help us and kind of help teach us. So we appreciate what you do for the community and what you do for the kids and and just people in Omaha. So
So thank you. Happy to help anytime. If you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out.
I will. Okay. Thanks, Keith.